Hello everyone, this is Jag. In this video I'll cover the importance of adding organic matter to the soil. This could mean the difference between having dead soil and live soil. Now there are different types of organic matters you can add to your soil. You can add organic compost, you can add different types of manure such as horse manure, chicken manure and cow manure. You can add worm castings and you can add dead leaves and wood chips. All of these things add organic matter to the soil. Now it's been raining here and it's absolutely beautiful and I love the smell of rain. But there's one thing that happens when it rains. Let me show you. All the earthworms are gathering on the concrete on my patio right behind me. And they're trying to find some dry place to get away from the waterlogged soil. So I got a cardboard and a very small stick. And I'm trying to gather all of these up to save them from drying out and dying. If left on the concrete, they will eventually dry out and die. Some do find their way after the rain. But others have trouble because they have a big patch of concrete and they eventually die on concrete because it gets dried out and they need moisture. So if left out on the concrete in the sun, they're not going to survive. Well, they're all in this tulip and daffodil patch that I built a few days ago. It has a lot of organic matter, a lot of compost, and they'll be really happy in there. Now that all the worms have been taken care of and they're in the flower bed and they'll be making worm castings for me, let me show you one more thing. Now look at the moss growing on the roots of this tree. This is absolutely beautiful. This is what I love about the rain. This is also a very important part of our ecology. Sometimes there are just minor things in life that bring you the most joy. All you have to do is just stop and appreciate. Adding organic matter to the soil encourages microbial activity and beneficial fungi in the soil, which makes the soil living. While conventional farming encourages using chemical fertilizers, pesticides and weedicides, which actually kills the soil, and then they go about feeding the plant. They're all about feed the plant, feed the plant, feed the plant. However, in living soil, you don't feed the plant, you feed the soil, and the soil in turn feeds the plant. Now this all shows in the taste of the food. Have you ever compared a taste of a tomato that you got from a grocery store versus a tomato that actually grew in your own garden using organic method? There's a huge difference. When you taste a tomato from your own garden, you're like, is this how a tomato tastes like? This is absolutely incredible. Well, the tomato from a grocery store grown with conventional farming method tastes like plastic. This is what it all boils down to. Whenever I actually got produce from grocery store and actually ate the produce, I was like, this doesn't even taste like bell peppers. This doesn't taste like eggplant. It all tastes bland to me. It all tasted like cardboard. And when I actually started growing my own fruits and vegetables in my own garden, that made a world of difference. That was a defining moment where I decided that I'm going to grow all my produce organically and I'm going to encourage organic gardening. Well, here's the view after the rain. This is why I love being connected with nature and I love going out here every single day. So last month we started our first compost pile and we also got a truckload of organic compost as well. And here's the footage. We're starting our first compost pile. So we have been saving our kitchen scraps in these plastic containers, and you get these when you buy spinach. And we actually use this to grow our seeds, and we create seedlings in those because they trap humidity and create moisture, and they also trap heat, so they're really good for starting seeds. And I made a video about how you can use this to start your seeds as well. However, I'm going to take all of this kitchen scrap and start our first compost pile. So let's do it. So let's get this started. I have a lot of kitchen scraps, cauliflower grains, some gone bad spinach, quite a few peels, banana peel. I have mushrooms. And then I'm topping it off with some dead leaves, so because you need greens and you need browns to make your hot compost pile. All right, there you go. It's getting started. I also made a video about how you can make your own hot compost pile, and I have a lot of detail in that video if you want to check it out. So the compost pile has been started. However, we need a lot of compost. We'll be planting hundreds of fruit trees, and we need a lot of compost to soften the soil and also provide nitrogen for the fruit trees. So I've ordered a truckload of compost, 50 yards total, and they're going to be here anytime today. So let's see. We're going to be using these to start seeds right now. Well, this is the greenhouse. Contains lots of tables for planting seeds and some shelves as well. We got running water in the greenhouse. We also have a water heater, and we do have plumbing that goes up to the ceiling, and then I can tap into this to provide water to my seedlings or growing microgreens and such. I'm expanding some coconut coir. Coconut coir is really good for starting seed. It retains a lot of moisture. I'm weighing this down and I added water in there so it expands. Otherwise it starts floating on top. Well, look who is here. We're getting a truckload of compost. So we got 50 yards of compost, the whole truckload, and we'll be using this to plant our fruit trees and also plant our vegetable garden. So that was over a month ago, and this is how my compost pile looks like now. This is how big it is. I've been adding kitchen scraps, I've been adding grass clippings, dead leaves, and I've been picking up coffee grounds from my local coffee shops, and I've been adding coffee grounds to this compost pile as well. And while sitting right next to it, I can actually feel the warmth. It is heating up. My next step is to build a worm bin, and I'm going to build the biggest worm bin that I've ever built. I'm going to build a worm bin that's 20 feet long and 4 feet wide. I kept worms in my previous house before. I actually kept 2 totes where I produce a lot of worm casting and a lot of worms. And I introduced all those worms into my garden. And doing that for 3 years, I had so many worms all throughout my garden that I did not have any need to fertilize anymore. I was not adding any more fertilizers and my plants were doing great. It's been really cold here, so when the weather warms up just a little bit, I'm going to start building my worm bin and keeping worms. And I'm going to use some of this compost when it cools down as a base in my worm bin as well. Now, worm castings are really good for your garden and for your soil. If you've never kept worms before, I highly recommend it. Worm castings contain live enzymes and lots of microbial activity. Microbial activity is what makes the garden soil live. That's the difference between having soil and dirt. Soil is living. It contains a lot of living microbial activity. Dirt lacks that. Dirt is just dead soil without any microbial activity. So what turns the living soil into dirt is the use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Chemical pesticides kills the bad insects and microbes, but it also kills the beneficial insects and microbes as well. So it sterilizes the soil. So what comes back after the soil is sterilized is all the bad microbes and bad insects. They come back first and then they attack your plants. So that's one of the main reasons the plants don't do well in just dirt, in non-living soils. But it's never too late. If you've been using chemical fertilizers or pesticides in your garden and you want to switch to organic gardening, all you have to do is add organic matter to your soil. That's all, and your soil will bounce back. Soil rejuvenates very, very quickly. Those microbes multiply at a very fast rate. So you can always build your soil very quickly and switch over to organic gardening anytime. Adding organic matter to the soil will increase all the microbial activity in the soil. It will increase protozoa, beneficial fungi, beneficial nematodes in your soil. Not all fungi and nematodes are bad. They are beneficial nematodes and fungi as well. And beneficial nematode, fungi, and protozoa are needed to make your plants survive. Organic matter also helps to retain a lot of moisture and lots of nutrients in your soil as well. And it will do wonder for your plants. So always add organic matter to the soil, no matter what kind of soil you have. You have clay, silt, sandy, or any kind of loam, clay loam, silt loam. It doesn't matter. Add organic matter to the soil, Cover your soil with wood chips to retain moisture as well, and you will be successful in gardening no matter what. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in another video.